This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie La Professore. And with me, as always, is the bashful blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Pit.
Hey, it's Phil, Philmy, and Perich.
Hey, Philip. Glad you're here once again to Superconnectivity, where tonight we are discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of Disney Plus.
Yay!
Yay! Very special guest star.
Disney Plus, the guest star.
Yeah, well, they got the Muppet movie. They have the original Muppet movie. That is a big selling point because the Muppets had been acting like, oh, original Muppet movie? I don't even remember that. But it's there. It's a real thing. It's active. It's alive. So that's a good. That is a net plus for Disney Plus. However, there are a lot of things missing from it. And speaking of Muppets, this is one of these things that really frosts my knockers. I'm going to be honest with you, Philip. My knockers are fully frosted. They have the new CGI Muppet Babies. Yeah. But not the original Muppet Babies.
Did Disney have the rights to that at any point, or is that somebody else?
Marvel, that was a Marvel production.
Oh, okay.
So there's literally no reason they should not have all the rights to the original Muppet Babies.
But they didn't sell that off at some point or anything? Like Stan wasn't selling that off in the 90s?
No, I mean, Marvel developed it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but even if they did, then it would have just gone back to Lucas, or not Lucas,
Henson, yeah.
Yeah. That was a Marvel Henson co-production.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's no reason for Disney not to have it and not to be putting it on the service. And so that is one of these. Now, there's the Dream On question, which is like, well, they used a lot of, like, whenever Gonzo would imagine things, they'd always do all these old B-movie clips. And that maybe they can't get the rights to those. But I don't think that's the case. I think all of those were public domain at the time. So, I don't think that it's just all of the clips that they use. I think that they actually just want to sort of push this new Muppet Babies down our throats, and it's like,
well, it is like a Disney Channel, well, a Disney Junior Channel original too.
Yeah, yeah. But the fact of the matter is that it's no original Muppet Babies, okay? And it's and I think they even did things to Nanny where she's like, now it's like hot Aunt May Nanny, and it's like, really?
She definitely has like a younger sounding voice. Again, you don't see the face, but again, it's a very much younger sounding voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not Barbara Billingsley anymore.
Yeah. No.
I think to me that's not. But so fair enough on that. But still, it just seems like it doesn't feel like the Muppet Babies. It doesn't feel like the Muppet Babies should feel.
Yeah.
And that they aren't putting the old Muppet Babies on. This makes me feel like they're trying to push something down your throat, sort of like ESPN Plus. Which I have been getting into so many fights with these jock bros on the internets about the fact that, Disney says, oh, you get the bundle and you save 25%. It's like, it's not a savings if you don't actually want what they're bundling it with.
Yeah.
Well, I already paid for it. Yeah, but you know what? They're not, you're not getting anything because the discount is specifically for Hulu. And they spell out, if you already have Hulu, they don't even imagine that you already have ESPN Plus. They're not even guessing that. If you have ESPN Plus, nobody has ESPN Plus. Because Disney bought a white elephant called ESPN that they're desperately trying to figure out what they can do, and it's because people don't watch sports as much anymore.
Yeah.
That's just the painful truth. People like their homoeroticism to be in spandex now.
Oh!
Hey, I'm the first to say I love the homoeroticism of superheroes, not a fan of the homoeroticism of sports. It's all homoeroticism. There's no argument there. But it's, what is the context of the homoerotic?
I just find a lot of sports boring anymore. It's like football. It's like you're running the same 5 plays. Baseball is so slow.
Exactly. And,
at least hockey moves fast. I mean, I'm sitting there watching hockey, but at least it moves fast.
Yeah. Basketball's doing okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, I enjoy hockey. Soccer is still a worldwide thing for now.
I don't think the ESPN thing is for us. It's for, like regular man on the street, maybe a big sports fan. It's like, well, hey, you can get Disney, Hulu, and ESPN for, this price,
But it is literally them just pushing ESPN Plus onto you.
Well, yeah.
It's not like I said, no one is sitting there with ESPN Plus. Like I said, they're not even pretending that you're an ESPN Plus member, and you're getting Hulu and Disney Plus.
Well, maybe that's just the thing. They're like, we're not making any money off this, so let's just add it to the bundle. Maybe pretend it's extra, special content.
So I guess theoretically, at any point now, I can turn on my ESPN Plus. It's like, but why would I?
Yeah.
It's like literally, why would I? I mean, and I can appreciate the idea of sports. I always say go Lions, go Tigers.
I mean, for big sports fans, I guess it's it's just like Disney Plus. It's like, well, hey, you can watch it anywhere. Hey, you're at a family function, you can watch ESPN on your phone, or you can watch the big game on your phone.
Well, and that's the other thing is, do they even have the big games on it? Because really, aren't the Super Bowl and the World Series and all that stuff still on broadcast?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's like, what is the big game? It's like, and it's like, I think mostly it's just sports commentary. It's sports nerdery.
Yeah.
Mostly. I don't think it's a lot of sports. I think it's a lot of sports nerdery.
Well,
which is great if you're a sports nerd. And Mosman's are definitely an MMA nerd. I think it'd be, and he does get it, because he did come and say, well, actually, no, it does work for me. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But, don't act like it's this great deal for everybody, because it's not. It's actually literally a penny more if I do this bundle.
Well, you know who ESPN's for? It's for the guys who are in 20 fantasy football leagues and.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's for sports nerds, and that's fine. It's fine if you're a sports nerd, but just don't try to force me to be a sports nerd. I've got my nerdery just fine. If I wanted to be a sports nerd, I would be one.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons with football players, I would be happy to. That's what fantasy football is. It's just, except instead of rolling dice, you actually have a real world game that then you factor into your point spreadsheet to figure out whether or not your party has defeated the dragon or something. I'm not sure.
But I don't know. The thing that got me was, remember the first day ESPN got into my head. Disney Plus, I guess people were having trouble logging on. At first I was like, oh, cool, there's so many people getting Disney Plus. But then I was like, wait a minute. Why is Disney, the company probably has more money than anyone in this world, why is their platform crashing? Shouldn't you have the best thing money can buy that can handle any kind of traffic? Well,
first off, one of the reasons it was crashing, this was actually something pointed out, was that Disney made a deal with Verizon to give every Verizon customer free access to Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah.
So suddenly there was, immediately 1 million more people who didn't actually have to buy a subscription suddenly had subscriptions.
Oh, yeah.
And so everyone went on at once, and you put 1 million people anywhere, it's
going to crash. More, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see, because I'm all digital, because I'm through, I have an unlimited plan through AT&T, and I've got the hub in the house, so, and we live in a small apartment, so you can actually do that. But even when I'm watching TV, I'll know, a lot of people are trying to watch this right now. Mm-hmm. Because you just see it slow down. Like, some channels will work just fine, but if you go to a channel that everyone's trying to watch right then, it's going to be a little harder. So,
yeah, that's the thing.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I waited till Thursday to get Disney Plus, and I haven't had any problems.
Oh, no. I mean, it was really just the first day.
Yeah.
I've not had a problem since I got it. I mean, you get some lag, but like I said, I get a lag on everything. So
yeah,
so it's interesting. And like I said, there are what it is there are holes in the canon if you look for it. So, for example, one of my favorite things is the Kurt Russell Super Kids series, where he was a college student who was kind of like he was kind of a schlubby, kind of very similar to your Chris Pratt kind of character, college student, but he went to like a super science college, and so he kept on having wacky things happen to him. So I think the first one is the computer that wore tennis shoes, where he basically has his brain fused with a computer and suddenly has, he can memorize everything and he becomes the super intelligent guy. Basically the forerunner to Korvac, But if you wonder where they got the idea of Korvac, that was from the computer that wore tennis shoes. And I'm just so mad that they already blew Kurt Russell they blew Kurt Russell as Ego, and they can't even bring in his son to be Korvac, because that is your computer who wore tennis shoes right there.
No, they're dropping him in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I know, but no. What I'm saying, you could have had Kurt Russell's son be Korvac.
Oh yeah.
Because then he's literally the computer. Although actually Korvac doesn't have legs, so maybe not. Okay, moving right along. Yeah, so that, and to me that's a big gap. Now what you do have is you have the black hole, which that is something that Disney needs to, that is a universe that Disney needs to expand. Black Hole came out about the same time as Star Trek the Motion Picture. Okay. And it was really Disney's attempt to have their own space opera. They wrote, and it's really a beautiful film. It has sort of a Galactic Federation kind of concept. There's an evil scientist, and it's all very self-contained, so there's not a lot to go from that, but it also builds this really fascinating world that I'd love to see other things happen in, I'd love to see what that future world is doing. It has, what's his name? Oh man, I've got his name now.
But do you think they're coming out with new stuff like Mandalorian, the Marvel stuff's coming. Do you think maybe they're waiting to see what gets streamed the most? Maybe they'll do a Black Hole remake if they're like, hey, look, the first week 2 million people watch Black Hole. Maybe we should do a remake of this.
Yeah, I would love that. It's a little. Basically, it's a little sad because it's something that Disney had. But now that they have Star Wars, they really don't need it. Mm-hmm. But if they really wanted to do a Star Trek competition series, that was where they should go with the Black
there you
Hole. Because because it is, again, like I said, it's a space federation. Although now they also have the Orville. So again, they don't necessarily need it. It's like they bought everything, all the niches that the Black Hole would have served, they kind of already owned the original properties. So that disappoints me a little bit, but we'll let it go. But I definitely recommend everybody go watch The Black Hole. It's a long film, but it's actually not even that long, but it's really, if you like that kind of, I think it's actually based on The Tempest. I think that's its inspiration. Mm-hmm. Similar to the way that, Forbidden Planet is sort of based on The Tempest. Not strongly, but it's if you like Forbidden Planet and you wanted to know what would Forbidden Planet be if it was much more like if Forbidden Planet was Oscar bait, it would be Black Hole. So I really like this film. I hope I'm doing it justice, and it is available on Disney Plus. So that alone is a reason to want to watch that.
See, I didn't even know that was on. Not that I know about Black Hole, but I didn't know that was on there because, one, the good part is there's so much stuff on there. Yeah, I didn't know that was on there. But two, you said you have issues with their whole platform, the way the platform's set up, right?
Yeah. So first off, there's no what was I just watching. So if you stop, so for example, I was watching Bedknobs and Broomstick, which Tristan wound up loving by the end of it because they fight Nazis. He's like, whoa, this is about Nazis? And they're going to fight the Nazis? Okay. Lead with that. Although they actually do lead with that. I realized when I was watching it, it's like, oh wow, the entire plot is told in a manuscript in their opening credits sequence, where you basically see the entire plot of the movie as an illuminated 5th century manuscript. But yeah, it's really cool. But every time I went back to catch the next part of it, because I'd watch a bit and then I'd stop, and I'd watch a bit and I'd stop. But every time I have to find it again, and it's not like it gets put to the front of even the queue that you were watching. They're pushing a bunch of stuff, but not necessarily what you want to watch. So, and then when I watched The Mandalorian, I watched the first episode, I kind of got out, and then when I went to go watch the second episode, it put me right back at the start of the first episode. So even then, it's not being intuitive. It's not realizing, it's not trying to behave like someone would watch a show. it's almost like it's meant only for binging and not for someone to just watch it casually, to flip around, to watch other things, because that's the thing. You can watch a film for like 30 minutes, stop, go watch something else, then go back and watch some more of the film. That's how I watch TV. And I want a program that can deal with that. I want a platform that can deal with that.
Well, like I said, do you think they probably they're going to add stuff to it later, but is it because you can have multiple profiles on your account? So is it?
I mean, but even so, then, like, for example, when I go into Netflix, I got like 5 Netflix because, like, Ben has one and Trish has one and I have one. And, so if I go into Ben's account, it's going to be a completely different stuff in the queue. If I go into my account, it's what I have in the queue. Now, we share it in Hulu and we share it in Disney Plus because we're all in the same house, so it's perfectly legal. Don't at me.
Oh yeah, no. I think they even said you get up to, like, what is it, 8 devices or something?
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that it doesn't. First off, I'm the only one that watches it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kids what I watch, but like the kids haven't gotten to that point. First off, the kids are all on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's like YouTube is, and this is what I'll tell you. YouTube is the content provider to be. Because YouTube has a better algorithm
for the kids. Definitely YouTube.
Yeah, but I mean, even for me, how often I'm sitting there just flipping through 30-minute series. Just the nerd content on YouTube is amazing.
Or even just like, it's like, oh, how do I cook this, or how do I do this craft? Or you could go on YouTube and there's, someone's put up a video. How do you do this? How do I play guitar here?
Although I guess it's starting to weigh on them, on their servers, how much like unwatched stuff is on there.
Oh yeah.
They are saying that they're going to start deleting stuff that hasn't been viewed in like the last 5 years,
or no value. But I just wonder, I didn't know if maybe they were saying that just because to give them an excuse to be like, oh, there's hate speech in here, let's get rid of this, or some
No, because for what it's worth, hate speech winds up being very profitable.
Yeah, I know, but if it's something like that YouTube doesn't want, they're just like, yeah, no, we can get.
I mean, they can delete anything they want whenever they want.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, the private platform, and yeah.
But now they're gonna have the legalese that says, don't come at us. Here's the agreement.
Yeah, well, they've already been demonetizing people for saying things that are offensive.
Yes,
and of course, because they have the algorithm doing it, once you get demonetized, you have to basically appeal it. So, so honestly, I won't say I'm glad we don't make any money from YouTube, because it sounds like a pain in the butt to deal with these people.
Well,
but I'd rather we made money from YouTube.
Yeah, I mean there are add-ons like TubeBuddy, like Lil showed me this, like when you put all your like hashtags and stuff in, like TubeBuddy will tell you, be like, if you put something up, even if it's not supposed to be offensive, there, I think, what is that tag? It might have been like war, or there might have been like war in the title with something, and there might have been like, this hashtag might give you a problem.
Yeah.
Monetization wise and stuff. So.
Infinity War. No, you can't talk about that. Yeah.
That might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is what I'm saying. It's like YouTube has a very intuitive interface. Netflix has a very intuitive interface. Tubi, honestly, for my money, Tubi has the best interface in streaming right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does have, it knows, hey, you like those films of a certain quality. Here's a bunch of films of that quality that we know you like, Mr. Charlie Esser. And then it has, this is what you were last watching, if you want to jump back into any of these, and it has its deep dive. And that's actually what I want to say. The reason why Disney has a problem in not having a complete deep dive availability is because they promised a deep dive availability.
Yes.
It's like DCU, when they say, oh, we're going to have all DC comics on there. I go, great. I can't wait to read some Ambush Bug. Nope, not there, And it's like, okay, well, let's read Superman #1. Nope, not here. It's like all these things that you think should have been obvious when you make that pitch. Mm-hmm. When you make the pitch, we're going to have everything on here. That just makes you look for something, and when you don't find it, you get mad. So I think Disney should have managed expectations better, saying we're going to have a lot of stuff right when we start, but we are going to get to our entire back catalog eventually. So if there's something you're missing, what they should have done is said, here's everything that's not going to be on Disney Plus, and then you'll say, oh, they're not going to have this, Kurt Russell film, but they're going to have that Kurt Russell film. I love Kurt Russell. What can I say?
Do you think maybe they put up everything they thought everyone would want day one, but once they see what's in demand, they're like, okay, well, we can add Muppet original Muppet Babies or the computer or tennis shoes.
They can. I think that it was something along those lines. They do have all of the they do have a lot of the Disney Vault. No Song of the South yet. Though Song of the South is coming, and I had a whole conversation with that. Essentially, what they're going to do is they're going to do a documentary. Mark my word, they're going to do a documentary on Song of the South for releasing, because they're going to explain. Okay, this is what Song of the South was. This is why it's controversial. This is the history of the Uncle Remus tale. So they're going to put it all in context. Then they're going to put it on Disney Plus with a little disclaimer, like they're putting in front of Dumbo now.
I was going to say, didn't I see an article somewhere? They're putting some kind of disclaimer on the front of some of the older stuff, like
disclaimer thing, which is the same thing Warner Brothers did. Same thing Sesame Street did. They said, look,
it was part of culture at the time.
There's a lot of stuff that we thought was funny in the 70s. Maybe it's a little shocking or worrisome to kids. Because Oscar used to be a lot grouchier and was a homeless dude. He was a much more surly homeless dude back in the day.
Yeah.
And, wasn't just a guy just living his best grouch life. He was kind of, living in a trash can and being kind of belligerent to people. So it was a little harder for kids to deal with, but,
but
Sesame Street understood that.
They don't
said, look the same.
Yeah, but Disney Plus isn't going to have Sesame Street, are they? Because that's on HBO right now.
No. But when Sesame Street released their, a few years ago, their big box set, they had a warning on it. Same with at Warner's when they released their big box set of, all of the times Bugs Bunny, did blackface. They said, look, in the cultural times, and also for what it's worth, when Bugs Bunny does blackface, usually it's a reference to Al Jolson, which was a big pop cultural icon at the time.
Yeah.
So
So how does that work? So, I mean, Disney has the Muppet Babies now, like the newer stuff. Mm-hmm. HBO has Sesame Street, so I'm assuming that might be on HBO Max. So could that be the problem with the original Muppet Babies? Could HBO own that somehow?
No.
Or wait, is Sesame Street Sesame Street was like a PBS thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, it's Sesame Workshop. So here's basically how it works. Sesame Workshop created Sesame Street for PBS. Mm-hmm. Jim Henson was hired by Sesame Workshop to put some of his characters on there. Now, he had already created a lot of these characters beforehand, like Kermit the Frog. So this is why you don't see Kermit the Frog on Sesame Street as much anymore. Because he's actually a wholly owned character by Jim Henson. So Disney bought Kermit the Frog, but characters like Big Bird, like Cookie, like Oscar, those are all owned by Sesame Street, by Sesame Workshop, which is now, I don't know, I think Sesame Workshop is still its own independent company. Mm-hmm. So Warner's has made a deal with Sesame Workshop.
Okay.
It just doesn't own Sesame Workshop. Yeah. It's kind of similar to Spider-Man and Marvel with Sony, where, Sony got a good deal for Spider-Man, but technically Marvel still owns Spider-Man. It's just who has the rights to show it and use it. So right now, Sesame Workshop is giving HBO and Warner's the rights to Sesame Street, but Sesame Workshop still owns it. So let's say 10 years down the line, whenever the contract is up, Sesame Workshop can then go to Disney and say, hey, here's what Warner's is paying us. How much are you paying us? And then it just flipped right over.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's probably going to be HBO Max's push. They're going to be like, hey, we got some DC stuff. We got adult stuff. We got Sesame Street for the kids.
Yeah, and I think actually the adult stuff is where Disney really is falling flat,
Well, Well, I mean, they're going PG-13, and again, and they got Hulu. Especially if you get the package deal, they can put mature stuff over there.
But Hulu, at first, Hulu doesn't, and that's actually the interest. See, it's the Blockbuster video conundrum. So, for those of you who don't remember, Blockbuster was a video store back in the 90s and the 80s that had videos. One of the most interesting things about Blockbuster is they were, like Disney, not putting dirty stuff on the TV.
Oh.
So, if you went to Blockbuster, they had their hot section, but they did not have a porn section. And that is like the big difference between Blockbuster and your mom and pop video store.
Oh yeah.
Your mom and pop video store had an actual porn section.
Well, I was gonna say none of the chain ones had a porn section. Did they? Like we had like Hollywood Video around here. I don't think they did either.
I think Hollywood had a porn section.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I think Hollywood had an adult section. And the thing is that when you had a video that got to Blockbuster, it had to be edited. So even their hot edits were like early HBO hot edits.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of boobs, nothing below the belt except maybe butt.
Okay.
So it's like exactly how it's how you parse it, you know?
Yeah.
How you shoot the scene. What do we get to see and how are we going to see it? So, yeah. But that was Blockbuster's rule, is that you could not be in Blockbuster if your movie could be called dirty.
Yes.
So, and that's where Disney and Hulu kind of both are. Now, HBO Max, again, might turn into that skid and say, no, it's like, here you go. Here is your full, Debbie Does Des Moines. I don't think they're going to do Debbie Does Des Moines, but, they're going to do, they may play up that. They may play up as the adult show.
Debbie makes out with Des Moines. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be more intellectually curious.
Yeah.
More, and that's, because again, that's going to be DC's brand. That's going to be Warner's brand.
Yeah.
Where, Marvel, DC, Disney. Disney is family friendly. We're adult friendly. And that's going to be their marketing portion. That's how they're going to sort of sell themselves. Now, how Sesame Street fits into that.
Well, I assume
I'm not even sure.
I assume the HBO Max app is going to be like the Disney Plus app, because if you make like a kid's profile, like it says, we'll when they search, we're only going to show the kids a certain, rating level. So, yeah,
and that's fair. I think that is going to be. But when you talk about how you're marketing your company, and it does become this question: is Disney Plus hampering itself? Because again, like I said, if you go to Hulu, you're not going to see the stuff that you, as an example, will see on Tubi.
Yeah.
Because Tubi is a 1980s video store come to life. And it is, and well, yes, you don't have full-on Debbie Does Des Moines on Tubi. You get as close to Debbie Does Des Moines as you can get, Debbie Does Oxnard. You can get close to Des Moines. I don't know if Oxnard is even in whatever state Des Moines is in. Iowa.
So go to Tubi, see your Charlie Esther nudity.
Yeah, well, or see something that's a little bit lower rent.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a lot of B movies. It's a lot of stuff that Martin Scorsese would like. Because Martin Scorsese, he was a grindhouse guy. He was a guy who made, which is always his big complaint, is that there isn't enough room for the old grindhouses.
Yeah.
Because even folks like Asylum, which you say, oh no, they're making those kind of movies, but they're not. They're making really just kind of, they're making money grabs. Whereas grindhouses, you could do this crazy social justice warrior story about a guy who robbed the bank to pay for his lover's sex change, which is the plot of Dog Day Afternoon for those who don't know. Oh yeah, Scorsese and Pacino and all that kind of stuff, was that De Niro? I forget if that was Pacino or De Niro. But yeah, it's just, and what it was, he got actors that weren't pretty enough for Hollywood to be in films that weren't good enough for Hollywood. And that's how he made his bones, and he made great films doing it, Mm-hmm. And he has a point in that idea that who's going to make the film with the people not pretty enough for Hollywood, but the story is not good enough for Hollywood. The films that aren't designed to make money, that would like to make, or like the Joker, that might make money, but we're not going to spend a lot to get there. You know, and the reason why Joker is such a big hit is because they didn't spend a lot to get there, because it's not a special effects driven film. It is cinema, as Scorsese would say, because you can draw James Dean into your film. That doesn't mean James Dean is in your film. You know, that's the thing. That film is not starring James Dean. It has a drawing of James Dean in the film. You know, for those of you who don't know about the whole James Dean controversy. I don't even know if there's a human behind it. I think they actually just literally put a cartoon of James Dean in this movie and he's going to walk around and talk it.
Oh, yeah, probably.
You know, which I'm sure was great as a live actor to have to deal with, you know, a puppet on a sock that's supposed to be the James Dean character you talk to.
Hey, I mean, that's kind of what they do with Thanos. I mean, Brolin just has to wear like a thick thing, or you know.
Yeah, actually get Brolin there.
Yeah.
It's like you know, like I said, you know, when they did that deleted scene from Avengers with the Hulk, I would have rather seen that with Ruffalo in it. Yeah. I would rather seen Ruffalo in the stilts walking around being the Hulk. That would have been interesting. Don't put this little cartoon Shrek in there. Give me Ruffalo. Give me the actor who's actually making this real. Because there is an actor making it real. So, you know, but that's just me.
All right, Charlie Esther, we're like over a half hour in. I know everyone wants to hear your thoughts on The Mandalorian, episode 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. So, redeeming trait is The Mandalorian.
Yes.
And here's what I'm going to say. So, DC had Titans when they launched DCU. Nothing else. But I don't think they had the back catalog they thought they had. Disney is supported by the fact that they do have the backlog to support the fact that they just have one show on right now, which is The Mandalorian. And it is really good. Most notably, the idea that The Mandalorian is a foundling. Mandalorian culture is like, it's interesting. And he even says it in episode 2, I think. You know, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are my religion. You know, meaning that he can't just he can't put his weapons to the side because, you know, it's like asking someone to take off their head cup. It's like, no. In fact, someone even says, you know, you're going to take off the helmet. It's like, you know, no, the helmet is a religious thing for us. You know, although, which is weird because we actually saw Jango Fett with his helmet off all the time. So, well, I guess he was a non-practicing Mandalorian.
Well, again, I mean, we were talking about, you know, that it's take off on westerns and stuff, but it's like, is it almost like the Lone Ranger? Who was that masked man?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is really cool. It's really well done. We can all agree to that. One thing I will say about The Mandalorian is we get a reveal. So spoilers. There is, and again, it's really fascinating to me that I realize we don't know the name of Yoda's species.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, did they ever mention that? I'm like, I can't remember if they did. But yeah.
I've always assumed they were native to Dagobah because that's where he lives.
Yeah,
and he might be a swamp creature. But yes,
I mean, I don't think we never even saw any other member of his species except for him, right?
There was I want to say it was in one of the. I think it was in the first. Yeah, it was in the first. In the Phantom Menace, I think we actually see
I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah,
which is a female of Yoda's race. So we do see that there was one other.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you know, actually, what I always found fascinating is so Kid Yoda, because they want to call him Baby Yoda. He's not a baby; he can walk.
He's 50.
Well, he's 50, but what I'm saying is he's at least a toddler. He's really a kid at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and he can get up, he can get himself out of his thing, he can walk around. He's not crawling, he's walking. He's fully mobile.
Can eat some frogs, yeah.
Oh, ate that frog right up. Spit that out. Like, nope. It's edible, I'm going to eat it. Which was a great way to see a Yoda character. But, yeah, so he's 50, and he's basically a kid, he's a toddler. At most a toddler, well, at least a toddler, maybe even, like I say, he could be like a 10-year-old kid. Yoda is 900 years old. But if you do the math on that, that means like maybe Yoda was like 20, 26 when he died. It's like, well, that's just hard living, you know?
I mean, unless it's like, can the aging like accelerate and decelerate?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you get that. And it actually makes sense if you think about a species, because as we know from episode 2, this is a species that by their nature, they're force sensitive. Mm-hmm. They are intrinsically tied to probably like midichlorians are just a species that are just really tuned into the force.
Yes.
And I think one of the most interesting aspects of this is our Mandalorian is given the instruction not to kill the Yoda, that it is to bring him in alive. Was it TI-11, I want to say, or was it TG-11? It was Taika Waititi's the battle droid, or sorry, the bounty droid.
Oh, I can't remember the name, but yeah.
But it was either, they never say it in the show. It's actually in the credits, but I think it's like it's T something. I think it's TG-11 or TI-11. I could be a little off on that, but anyway, which is such a great character they gotta bring him back. He's a droid and he is manufactured, so there could be like 10 of those out there.
Oh yeah,
I would love to see a scene with like 6 of them in one, and then they just start talking to each other in that great Taika Waititi way. This is really the year of Taika Waititi. That guy is just blowing up. It's interesting because here's the thing, and here I think is the big secret of this: droids can't be controlled by the Force. So if you're sending in a droid to take in this being, you're not going to be taken over by it's not going to be able to use its Force to protect itself from. I mean, it can as far as deflecting lasers, which again, we don't know who shot Taika Waititi's character. We don't know if that was the Mandalorian or if that was just Baby Yoda deflecting it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And the other aspect of that story is we don't know if the Mandalorian is really operating with his own free will, or is the Yoda character sort of manipulating him. So even if the Mandalorian shot Taika Waititi's droid, maybe that's because Yoda told him to, or Kid Yoda told him.
Yeah. All right. I looked it up. The droid was IG-11.
There we go. I thought it started with a T, but there we go. IG-11. Yeah.
And he's only credited for one episode, so that might have been it for season 1. Season 1. He might be back for season 2. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's a droid, so you can always put out another one.
Yeah.
I love Nick Nolte as the old man of the planet. I have spoken. Oh. Which is just, and I love that. That's just how he ends his sentences. It's like this, which is obviously meant to be like this is the cult. This is one of the things I think that Star Wars has an advantage over other, like Star Trek, is that people have accents, people have ways of speaking. That there is a common language, but not everyone speaks it. You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, just look at the differences on this planet, and you're dealing with like a whole galaxy.
Exactly. And so that's one of the things I think is really great. And I love the fact, so they're speaking common. Obviously, they're speaking whatever the common, probably the Imperial language. But of course, obviously, some people's cadences are going to be different because, you know, it's not the language they grew up on. And, you know, if in your culture you say, I have spoken at the end of your sentence when you're done, you know, then that's how you speak. And, by the way, one of my favorite things of this is when the guy's trying to pay him with Imperial credits. And he's like, come on, man. It's like paying you with Confederate money.
I was going to say Confederate money.
It's like, come on, man. But he said, people are still accepting it. This is still valid currency. The Empire still exists in some form or another at the end of this. Mm-hmm. You know, so because we know that this is post Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
You know, so this is like, I think this is supposed to be like post Return of the Jedi, but pre First Order.
Yeah. I think this is. I thought I heard someone say this might be like 5 years after Return of the Jedi or something.
Yeah, it's something along those lines, and which makes perfect sense when you think about it. Mm-hmm. And I love, you know, we see the stormtroopers there, and their helmets are all yellow, and like, you know, they're clearly like they're stormtroopers, but they have been through a lot, you know. Mm-hmm. And not other than like when you see an old West show and you see the guy who's still got his Confederate uniform on, but it's all tattered, and, you know, beat up because you lost the war, man. You know. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things in this that really bring the show home.
And I like how he's like a Mandalorian, but he's like kind of like building his armor as he goes along.
And it's clear that that's the tradition.
Yeah.
It's like, you so much about Mandalorians in this. And I wonder how that jives with the Mandalorian stuff we've seen in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that one of the characters in Rebels is a Mandalorian, and her thing is she like builds arm, and again, like an armor smith, like this one, we see the armor smith. Although again, she takes off her helmet all the time.
Mm.
So this whole Mandalorians don't take off their helmets, that might be a new thing. Or maybe it's like there are Orthodox Mandalorians and then there's Reformed Mandalorians, you know. It's like, you know, maybe every Mandalorian isn't it might be, we have a universal culture, but not all of us are, you know, some of us are real fundamentalist Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And some of us are like, you know, I go, you know, Life Day, I go to the blacksmith on Life Day and on all the big holidays, but on Life Day and Death Day.
I celebrate,
you know,
I celebrate all 8 days of Life Day. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's, you know, everybody has a different, which would be brilliant. I mean, that right there is enough to really make you go, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Just the idea that there are different sects within Mandalorian.
Right.
You know, that not every Mandalorian is going to be, you know, an Orthodox Mandalorian.
I just didn't know if, like, there's something under that helmet, like, you know, they'll reveal at the end of season 1 or something. You know, is he scarred? Is it something recognizable? You know, is something going on with that face? Is that why he's not taking off that helmet?
No, but we see that when he goes into the back, which again for him clearly is like going to temple.
Yeah.
Because we see the blacksmith doesn't take off her helmet either.
Yes.
So clearly, the helmets are important to the Mandalorians. It means something in their culture. Exactly what we don't necessarily know yet, but it obviously has religious significance. There's obviously an entire, again, like I say, there's clearly a religious significance to a lot of Mandalorian culture.
Yeah.
And again, that could be like the Klingons, you know. Worf is so much more orthodox of a Klingon than any other Klingon you're ever going to meet. Which I think is kind of the point. It's like Worf takes all this Klingon ritual seriously.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of guys are just like, yeah, you know, Kalis' birthday, I take off, and, you know.
Yeah, but I think Worf was trying to prove more than any other Klingon that he was Klingon, since, you know, he was raised by humans. He's like, oh no, I'm Klingon. Look, I observe all the old ancient traditions, and yeah.
And likewise, the Mandalorian is a foundling.
Mm.
And they make a point about he is a foundling. Now, does that mean he was a foundling of Mandalorian descent, or that Mandalorians just adopt people on a regular basis? As Mandalorians, every time we see them, seem to be bounty hunters and travelers. Mm-hmm. They could be a traveling people. And traveling people tend to pick up people along the way because they travel.
Oh, yeah.
And they have culture that says we move about and we welcome the stranger because they're, you know, if you need our help, we're there for you, you know, but if you cross us, we're going to kill you, kind of thing, you know?
Oh, yeah, the first episode, he had all his bounties in carbonite.
Mm-hmm. Which is one of those things that kind of like bugs me a little bit. Again, inconsistencies. Like when they froze Han, there's like a whole place in Cloud City.
Oh yeah.
To freeze things in carbonite. And then it's like, no, I got like a little home hibachi carbonite freezer in the ship.
I mean, unless they perfected the process, or maybe Boba, you know, we see, you know, them building armors and stuff. Maybe Boba Fett didn't have the machine to, you know, freeze them in carbonite. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was kind of like the ship the Mandalorian is driving is like meant to be like a cherry, meant to be like a cherry 68 vet. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's a pre-imperial job, you know. And and I love the fact that you know that this isn't a Warner Brothers property because there's a toilet.
Ah!
Yeah, I need the vacuum. It's like, have you ever seen gotta empty out my throat? It just I love all those.
Oh, I'm molting. Oh, that feels so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is just really that's Jon Favreau for you. I mean, the guy.
Yeah.
You know, the guy started the Marvel. Here's what I'm gonna say. You know, Jon Favreau is the father of the MCU.
Yes.
And they're letting him come in here and say, okay, now you're gonna tell us what to do with Star Wars. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have a lot of other people come into it, but you know, he set the tone with Iron Man. He's setting the tone with the Mandalorian.
Because I have to say, I really enjoyed the Mandalorian. I think I enjoyed this better than, like, you know, these last couple Star Wars movies even.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, not for nothing, the Star Wars movies are trying to deal with Lucas's legacy. you know? And Lucas's legacy was never that good.
Yeah.
I'll say it. You know, it was never that good.
And again, you're trying to bring in like a whole new cast and stuff. I mean, I like The Mandalorian. Again, like I was saying before, I like they keep it to a tight 30-some minutes. You're only focusing on like one or two people. You're focusing on The Mandalorian and, well, now the baby, which I see we're getting more characters, but they're keeping it small.
And I actually forgot how it ends. Does Nick Nolte go with the Mandalorian at the end, or does he stay on his planet?
No, I think the Mandalorian offers to take him. He's like, no, you know, this is.
Yeah. I know he offered. I just couldn't remember if he accepted.
Yeah, no.
Good. Well, you know, I mean, I liked the character. I have spoken, but you know, it's best that he be stoic by himself. And like he says, I have spent my entire life not being owned to get to this place where I'm not owned.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, honestly such a beautiful Western idea.
Oh yeah, I definitely caught the Western vibe when he's like, "Oh yeah, you made my planet a lot better, you know, better and stuff."
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like you're taking that little Yoda away from me, because that Yoda is causing problems. Because everybody either wants to kill it or take it or use it. Get it out of here.
And you got the egg for those Jawas.
Yeah, which then they just promptly start eating.
It must taste really good if they, you know, they were willing to trade all those parts back for that egg.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing it's like, you know, Jawa heroin, you know. Yeah, I just hope that wasn't the last of the hairy rhino egg layer creatures.
Oh, I know. Oh, I love that fight.
Oh, that was a great fight. And then, of course, Yoda saves the day there.
The baby Yoda, yeah, lifts him off the ground with the force.
I was so afraid that Yoda died.
Oh yeah, I think that was intentional.
Yeah, but you have him start moving at the end, and he wakes up at the end like a little baby Groot.
But I think too that was just like, you know, he's still quote unquote like a baby or a toddler, so it's like he can't just like throw the force around like Yoda did. You know, it's going to take a toll on him if he uses it. That's why he's not using it every 2 seconds.
Well, to lift the.
Oh yeah.
Although again, as Yoda says, you know, it's not different there. It's different here.
Yes, exactly.
But he's a baby. And again, this is why I think they have that very extended toddlerhood, because their brains take a long time to develop. So I think once it speaks, then it starts to age at a normal rate. But it takes all that time to really feel the Force, to become communicative in the Force.
Mainline it, yeah.
To really be what the Yoda species becomes. And again, if they live 900 years, they probably only mate like once a century, you know?
Yeah.
But actually, once every 50 years, probably, you know, or like, you know, it's not an everyday thing for them. Or it may take a long time to gestate, to lay the egg. And probably they do hatch from eggs, you know, like most reptilians, you know. So, like, this could be Yoda's son. It just, you know, Yaddle laid it, left it on the planet, and then the Empire fell. And that
was the interesting thing me and Tyler were talking about, because Jedis weren't supposed to, like, have mates and stuff. So, do you think this is Yoda's kid or not?
You know, Philip.
I know.
Without actually having a spouse, you know?
I know.
Two people feed into. So, for example, if two Jedi decided, you know what, let's make another Jedi. They could say, certainly. Here's my egg. Here's my sperm. Schmook, schmook, and we go about our business.
Or again, I mean, this is after Return of the Jedi, so I mean, after the fall of the Jedi Order, Yoda could have been like, okay, time to mate.
Well, this is since the item has been around for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be, if Luke is in his 20s.
True. Yeah.
You know, then this had, and then again, we're assuming how old Luke is, you know, how old anyone is, you know, because we actually see that Vader goes from, you know, 8 years old to, you know, 22 in like a single movie. So who knows how anyone ages in this universe?
Yeah, but too, I wonder if like maybe this thing was like maybe it was artificially created, like a clone or something. Someone get their hands on Yoda's DNA.
It could literally be a Yoda clone, yeah. But then again, that took 50 years to either gestate or whatever.
They let it grow naturally. They didn't artificially age it up. Maybe you can't access the Force if you do that or something.
Yeah. Well, you may not actually even be able to do that. Well, and again, because you need to have that time, it needs to have that toddlerhood.
Yeah.
Just like your toddler needs to see the world and put things in its mouth and says, that's poison, so let's not do that.
Well, I'm trying to remember Attack of the Clones. Those Boba Fett, those Jango Fett clones. Did they age regularly, or were they artificially aging?
No, they were. They were artificially. Well, they were aged up.
Okay.
So they were adult clones. So basically what it is, it's like what we do in our modern, well, not modern cloning, but like fictional cloning, where it's like, oh, it's a clone of Steve Rogers, and he just happens to be, perfectly aged Steve Rogers. And now we're going to put our Red Skull brain in there. That's all within the purview of the knowledge of the universe. But you can make it where it's just a baby clone too. So, who knows what you do? But it's very interesting, and I do think it's going to be revealed that the Yoda clone is actually manipulating people, which may also be why everyone's attracted to it. Or more interesting, why all these bounty hunters were maybe guarding. Because you think about it, you have all these bounty hunters there, and the Yoda clone, or the Yoda, is just sitting there.
The Yoda's
like
maybe
no one's trying to
Yeah.
cash in on the bounty. It's almost like Colonel Kurtz, in the middle of the jungle with all of the rotting ivory around him. This is part of darkness, for your freshman lit class. He just, that maybe this little Yoda was like, they keep on sending bounty hunters for them, and they all wind up being taken over and just like taking care of the Yoda.
That would be. That would be interesting because, it's like, if it's this evil thing, can you kill a baby? And two, is anyone going to see it coming? Because it's like, oh, it's a little Yoda Junior. He couldn't. It must be nice.
Yeah, but again, that would also explain why they sent the bounty droid.
Yes,
it's the one thing that would not be influenced by the Force. So I think that's the very telling thing, that someone wants to kill this thing.
Yeah.
And we know it's not Herzog and the scientist. Because Herzog said, if you do kill it, we need the proof of death. Meaning you got to bring the body back. Whereas the scientist is like, no, it has to be caught alive.
Yeah.
Have to bring it back alive. And so that is the complexity of it. And I think that's why it goes with the Mandalorian, because it knows the Mandalorian doesn't want to kill it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'll go with you. We'll see where we go. And we will all see where we go next when the next episode drops. Probably next Sunday, I imagine.
I think is it Fridays? It dropped yesterday, so it might be every Friday.
Oh, maybe every Friday. Okay, well that's great. So yes.
So I know that's when DC usually DC Universe usually drops their episodes. So it might be Fridays. Yeah.
Well, except of course, obviously HBO drops on Sundays, so who knows. Yeah, any of this stuff drops whenever it drops. But I'm loving The Mandalorian. It's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
So, Philip, anything else to talk about tonight?
No, I think we're good.
We're good, then. Let's get out of here. Philip, if people would like to reach out and touch you, how can they do so? If they would like to force touch you and maybe manipulate you, make you realize that these are not the droids you're looking for, how can they reach you?
Well, if you want to get all creepy like that, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And remember, you can always check out the Capes and Lunatics at, email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. The voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And check out all our social media, links to merchandise, the YouTube, everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
Look for the 2 E's at the end for quality. Ping! And of course, write to me in that old-fashioned email way, where Maz and Paz and maybe even Yoda once did. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivity, all one word with the blog part, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet.
Watchmen.
The Watchmen. Like it. It's a good show. Watch it. Follow me as we live tweet it this Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern. At Charlie Esser, the CHARLIE. Look for the 2 E's in the middle of this.
For quality. Bing!
There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for connecting with us this week. Please super connect with us again next. Good night.
Good night. That is your Disney Plus review.
It's a good service. It just...
Need some tweaks.
Yeah. I don't think they know who their competitors are. They're on That's the thing. You got to be ready to go your direction.
I don't know. Warner's in that plays defense. I think Disney's just always like, here we are. This is what we are. Love it or hate it.
Yeah. I think you'll get more hate than love sometimes when you do that.